In this video, I show you how to build this simple workbench. It's made out of construction lumber, just using basic hand tools. And best of all, it follows my modular workbench design. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Throughout my workshop, I have workbenches that look like this. It's a modular design that I came up with a while ago. My original two were made with mortise and tenon joinery, and most of the other ones, like this one, are made with pocket screws. Now what I'd like to do is follow the same design, but making one with the basic $100 toolkit. Now I do have to make some changes. I can't really connect boards like this, so I will have to figure out a better way just to orient everything and assemble it, and I may have to do something different for the tabletop. But anyway, let's get started. Now my first step here is cutting out the legs. These will be 33¼ inches. Now normally the legs on this style workbench are shorter, but that's because I have casters on the bottom. I don't think there's a good way to attach the casters since I don't have a drill. I can't use screws. Nails maybe would hold for some amount of time, but I really don't trust it, so I'm not going to have casters on this one. Now with my 4 legs cut out, I need width stretchers. Normally what I would do is attach the width stretcher just like this, where it's flush. I could do that with pocket screws, I can't with nails. So I have to cut out width stretchers that would attach like this, just in the back. It should work fine, shouldn't interfere with the design at all. So I have to cut out 4 width stretchers, all at 28¾ inches. Now for the depth stretchers, I can attach these just like I normally would, because the depth stretchers will be like this, where this could be the front or back, and it'll just be going across like that. So I need 4 of those at 19 inches. Now with all my pieces cut out, my first step of assembly is creating 2 frames. I'm making these out of the legs and width stretchers, and later on I'll attach the 2 frames together using the depth stretchers. And so for these, it's pretty easy. 1 width stretcher at the top just attaches like that, where it's flush on the top and then sides, and then towards the bottom it's flush on the sides, but this piece here needs to be offset from the bottom by 3 inches. And all I'm going to do is glue and nail these in place. Now with my 2 frames assembled, I have to connect them together using the depth stretchers. And when connecting them together, the width stretchers here have to face each other. So it'll line up like that, because the front and back, you'll have the legs on the outside like that. Now for attaching the depth stretchers, they're going to attach vertically, and they're going to bump up against either 2x4 up top and then on the bottom. Now I have a few different options for the top. Normally what I do for these workbenches is I cut out a bunch of 2x4s about this length and I glue them up going this way, so I have a nice solid top. Now I can't really do that this time. I don't have a hand plane or a joiner or a table saw, so I don't have an easy way to joint the edges for a glue up. Now there's a couple alternatives. The first is if I cut out a couple braces like this, and then I cut out a bunch of 2x4s and just nail it to the braces going across here. That'll be incredibly strong because the weight on the boards on top will transfer to the braces, which will transfer compression strength on the legs. So that's an insanely strong workbench. It does raise up the top another 1.5 inches because of these 2x4 braces. That's fine, but an alternative is, instead of these 2 braces, just cut out a bunch of slats this length and you can nail them directly to the width stretchers. And that'll still be plenty strong. Like, this does hold my weight just fine, just on this width stretcher back here. So when you think about transferring weight from the top to both of these and that, you know, this is an easy approach. It doesn't add height to the workbench. So I think I'm going to try that, even though the first option is a really good choice because it's really strong. I just like the simplicity of this. So what I have to do is cut out a bunch of 2x4s at 22 inches. And what I'm working with here is 28 3/4 inches. Now, unfortunately, 8 2x4s would bring me to 28 inches, which is too short. I don't want to rip down the width of any 2x4s. So I'm just going to go for the full 9 2x4s, which will be 31.5 inches. And that'll give us about 1.5 1.25 overhang on either side, which is plenty of room to nail in the 2x4s on the side. So I'm going to cut out 9 2x4s at 22 inches. Well, this top definitely seems solid, so now we can start on the shelf. What I could do is just add some slats going across here and call it good, but the idea behind this workbench design is that it's modular. Normally I have a cabinet box here that can be removed or swapped out with other workbenches of this style. So what I'm going to do is build a shelf with 2 bars going across here that all my slats can attach to. And that way I can pop it in, pop it out, swap it with anything pretty easily. So as I was prepping, cutting out the parts for the shelf, I realized I could make the workbench top better, sort of combining ideas from the sawhorses as well as the traditional handsaw bench and putting that into this workbench. And it's really easy. We're just going to get rid of this board. There. So now, as I'm cutting pieces on here, I can line it up here. I can plop nails in place, just like I would on the sawhorses, and I have support on both ends. So let's try that out. Yeah, that works really well. I like that. So I cut out 2 2x2s. These are 23.5 inches, and I cut out 10 1x2s. These are all 19 inches. And the basic idea here is I have my 2x2s like this, and all of the 1x2s will nail to these. And I need a 1.5 inch spacer from the edge of the 1x2s to the 2x2. So you can just use another scrap 2x2 just like that and use that to help line these up. So we just got to nail these together. Well, there we are. So we got this put together, and all we got to do is plop it down here like this. And now you may notice that I did not add 2 nails on these, and that's because that can actually work to your advantage because the base here may not be perfectly square. So you can kind of twist it in shape, but you can use 2 nails if you want, even some wood glue. But that's pretty good. That seems nice and strong as well. Well, my last step is adding some nails all around here just to hang items, just like what I did on the sawhorses. And it really doesn't matter exactly where I add them. You know, I'm just going to add some wherever on the legs and sides. This I'll just use for the saw. Look at that, it's easy to reach, it's out of the way, and hanging things on the side just leaves more room for things I want to put on the shelf.